You can edit videos. You can cook, write, organize, research, fix things, manage people, start businesses, learn new skills, and somehow, at the end of the day, you still feel like you're not good enough. Meanwhile, someone who does one thing seems miles ahead of you. That's the strange psychology of being a jack of all trades. And the problem isn't that you lack focus. It's that you've become extremely good at measuring yourself by what you haven't finished. There's a frustrating paradox that comes with being capable at many things. The more things you learn, the more things you become aware that you could learn. And that creates a strange psychological trap. Imagine two people. Person A knows how to do one thing exceptionally well. Person B knows how to do 10 things reasonably well. Person B might actually have more useful skills. But Person A has something Person B doesn't. A very obvious identity. They're the photographer. They're the programmer. They're the musician. They're the doctor. When people ask what they do, the answer is simple. But the jack of all trades often has a much harder time answering that question. Because the honest answer sounds more like, well, I do a little bit of everything. And that can quietly turn into, maybe I'm not really great at anything. Here's where psychology gets interesting. Your brain doesn't evaluate your progress in a vacuum. It constantly compares your current position with other possible versions of yourself. And if you're naturally curious, every new skill creates another possible version of you. You don't just see the skill, you see the person you could become if you committed to it. You pick up a camera, take one good photo, and think, this could be it. You learn video editing. I could build a channel. You start learning psychology. I could become an expert. You discover business. I could start something. You learn coding. I could build an app.
Suddenly, your life contains 10 different roads. You can imagine yourself succeeding on all 10. So choosing one feels like giving up the other 9.
So you keep moving. Not necessarily because you're lazy, not necessarily because you lack discipline, but because possibility itself becomes addictive. There's another reason this happens. New skills give you something that mastery doesn't always provide. Fast, obvious progress. When you're a beginner, improvement comes quickly. Day 1, you know nothing. A week later, you can do something you couldn't do before. That feels incredible. Your brain gets a clear signal, I'm getting better. But eventually, the easy progress disappears. You hit the boring middle. The beginner excitement fades. Now improvement requires repetition, practice, mistakes, frustration. Doing the same thing when it's no longer exciting. And this is where many multi-talented people move on. Not because they can't master the skill, but because another new skill is waiting to give them that feeling of rapid progress again. It's a psychological cycle. Curiosity, learning, progress, boredom, new interest, curiosity again. And because you're constantly learning, it can look like you're incredibly productive. You are. But productivity and progress aren't always the same thing. There's an even deeper problem. When you do many things, your achievements can become difficult to see as one coherent story. A specialist can look back and see a straight line. 5 years of programming, 10 years of medicine, 20 years of playing music. But your experience might look like a scattered collection of unrelated projects. 3 months of photography, 6 months of editing, a year of business, some writing, some coding, some marketing, some psychology, some design. From the inside, it can feel like, I've wasted so much time. But that's not necessarily what happened. You may have been collecting transferable skills. Communication helps marketing. Marketing helps business. Design helps content. Writing helps communication. Technology helps automation. Understanding people helps almost everything. The problem is that the value of these skills isn't always obvious until you connect them. This is why comparing yourself to specialists can be so misleading. You're comparing your winding road to their straight one. You see someone who's been doing one thing for 8 years and think, I'm behind. But you're not necessarily behind. You're simply playing a different game. The specialist gets depth. The generalist gets breadth. And breadth has a hidden advantage. You begin to notice connections other people miss. You understand enough about several fields to combine them. And sometimes that's where unusual opportunities come from. A person who understands psychology and storytelling can create different content from someone who only understands storytelling. Someone who understands technology, business, and design can build something a specialist in only one of those areas might never imagine. The advantage isn't knowing everything. It's knowing enough different things to connect them. However, we shouldn't romanticize being a jack of all trades, because there is a darker side to this personality. Sometimes I'm interested in everything as genuinely curiosity, but sometimes it's avoidance. Learning another skill can feel safer than committing to one. Because commitment creates the possibility of failure. If you keep starting new things, you can always tell yourself, I haven't failed, I just moved on. And that's a very comfortable story. You never have to discover what happens when you stay long enough to become mediocre. Then bad, then frustrated, then, eventually, good. You can stay permanently in the exciting beginning. That's why the real question isn't, how many things can I do? It's, what am I willing to stay bad at long enough to become excellent? You don't necessarily need to become a specialist. You need a center. Think of it like a wheel. Your interests can be the spokes. Something has to connect them. Say your center is storytelling, then psychology. Writing, video editing, research, design become spokes supporting the same thing. Say your center is entrepreneurship, then marketing, technology, sales, finance, and content all connect to the same goal. The problem isn't having 10 skills. The problem is having 10 skills that are pulling you in 10 different directions. When your skills point toward the same destination, being a generalist becomes an advantage instead of a source of anxiety. So if you're constantly feeling behind, try something different. Stop asking, what should I learn next? Ask, what do I already know that I haven't combined yet? Look at the skills you've accumulated. Then find the overlap. Maybe you're good at explaining things and interested in psychology. Or you're good at cooking and storytelling. Or you understand technology and business. Or you know how to organize people and solve problems. Your next breakthrough might not require another skill. It might require combining the ones you already have. And when you find that combination, give it enough time to compound. Not 2 weeks. Long enough that other people begin to associate your name with it. Because that's the part many jack-of-all-trades never experience. They collect abilities, but they don't stay in one place long enough for those abilities to become an identity. So you're not behind. You've simply been looking at your life through the wrong measurement. You don't need to become the best person in the world at one thing just to prove that you're talented. And you don't need to abandon your curiosity to become successful. But you do need a direction, because curiosity without direction creates a collection of unfinished beginnings. Curiosity with direction creates expertise. So keep learning, keep exploring, keep being interested in strange, unrelated things. Just choose something important enough to you that you're willing to stay after the excitement disappears. Because one day, you may look back and realize that all those seemingly random skills weren't proof that you lacked focus. They were pieces. You just hadn't figured out what they were building yet. That's why you don't feel behind. You're finally getting close to seeing the pattern.